You know, I almost like to hear bad numbers. I'm saying, I hope we have bad numbers today. Interest rates will go to.
Well, we do got bad numbers. We definitely got that.
U.S. government debt passes 40 trillion, more than doubling in a decade. And then you can see a chart here. So total public debt is just skyrocketing. It's out of control.
I call myself the king of debt. I'm the king of debt. I'm great with debt. Nobody knows debt better than me. I've made a fortune by using debt. And if things don't work out, I renegotiate the debt. I mean, that's a smart thing, not a stupid thing. And I made a fortune.
How do you renegotiate the debt?
Because you go back and you say, hey, guess what? The economy just crashed. I'm going to give you back half. I like debt. For me, I don't like debt for the country. I like debt for my company. But I don't like debt for the country. For the country, we have $19 trillion in debt. It's going to be very soon 21 trillion, not billion, $21 trillion in debt. And I will tell you, we are sitting on a time bomb.
Trump said that's okay for his companies. You know what I mean? Try and beat people out of the money that he owes. But how you gonna beat America? How you do that? By lining your pockets. So the same situation of, instead of paying people back, he's just putting our tax dollars in his pocket. And that's why the debt is where it's at right now. The U.S. gross national debt has increased by $11.6 trillion across Donald Trump's 2 terms. $7.8 trillion the first time, and $3.8 as of today, the second time. Now, I will be remiss if I did not tell you that Donald Trump added all that in less than 6 years in office. Joe Biden added $8 trillion. 2.5 of that $8 trillion was for infrastructure that we see every freaking day. Not to mention the 5G upgrades. What has Trump done? What does he have to show for it? What about all that money from the customs? The tariffs. Well, it turns out the money we got from all that tariffs is lower than the refund we have to pay back because the Supreme Court said it was illegally done. The interest payment on the debt held by the public was increased by $117 billion. That's 14% more than last year because of the outstanding larger debt this year. Long-term interest rates have reached levels that hasn't been seen since the Great Recession. The Department of Housing and Urban Development spent $17 billion into the housing market. That's 43% more than the fiscal year last year. But the reason, the tremendous amount for home loans. We're at an all-time high right now.
Borrowing money as the United States government just became more expensive than at any point in 19 years. Not the most expensive this year. Not since the pandemic. The most expensive since 2007. And within 3 trading sessions, an entire national stock exchange had to switch itself off to make the falling stop. Also today, the combination that is not supposed to happen to a reserve currency, rising rates and a falling dollar in 1 week. 65 months, which is how long it has been since American inflation touched its official target.
Donald Trump had an $89 billion decrease in collecting corporate taxes. We got $89 billion decrease. That's the money we could have had. The CBO has lifted its projection for 2026 on the deficit to $2.1 trillion. That is $200 billion more than the fiscal year last year. You know what I'm talking about, right? We adding more debt. Spending by the education department. Now here's where they save money at. On our kids' education. $79 billion for this year. That's only down 60% from last year. Because who needs smart kids, right? Now, the Small Business Administration, the government spent $10 billion this year. You know why? Because they still owe for all the disaster relief. They still owe for that. Not to mention, they don't mind forking out money for people that's going to need to borrow. In 2022, Biden released $20 billion to the Clean Energy Fund, and that was from the Inflation Reduction Act. So Trump said this year we gonna decrease the environmental agencies, and that brought us down to less than 60% of what we did last year. So who needs clean air, right? Spending on international assistance program dropped to $10 billion. That is 36% less than we did last year. Now, if you don't know what that does, I mean, it does, like assistance for food, clothing, diseases. We don't want that stuff coming over here. We like to contain it over there. Well, that's that now. Anytime you go anywhere abroad, you might bring something back, you never know. The reason that was stated was because of lack of supplemental funding, which means other countries that used to help and donate to our 501c3s here, Red Cross, UNICEF. Trump done talked so much crap about them, they don't want to give us nothing. Now, if you didn't pay attention, the last reason at the end of that paragraph said, increase in military sales. See, we rather create more bombs than helping feed people. I could go on and on into the, 2017 tax cuts that's still in effect that they renewed. So we're not taking as much money from the billionaires that could solve a lot of these problems. Instead, he wants to take money from education, from disease control, from international assistance programs, from Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. He want to take money for the very thing that we need to survive for people that are not billionaires, raising up healthcare costs. This is what he's been doing with what he was given. And by given, I mean our tax dollars. So this is the reason why you need to pay attention. You shouldn't be voting for anybody that is to the detriment of the well-being of the elderly, of the children, of the diseased. They want to take all the assistance they can to fill their pockets, to build more weapons, to create more data centers for more surveillance, for more ICE agents, for more ICE penitentiaries. This is where our world is going, for more surveillance, more flock cams, so we can keep you under control. Take away as many freedoms as they can with your tax dollars. Know who you're voting for. Know what they represent. Pay close attention, people. Wherever you live, you need to be studying who is running for office so you can vote accordingly. That's my video for today. I'm just saying.